Welcome back to Man Across New Horizons. I'm Darling, and shall we see what's going on a lovely island of Fawnhollow today? That was a bit of a weird, voice crack at the beginning. Yeah, what are we going to talk about today? I don't really know. We're going to vibe out. My Discord is blowing up. Well, I'm not going to say blowing up, because it's not really blowing up. It's just there's lively conversation right now in my inner circle Discord. I'm talking about the Spotify wrapped up or whatever, the thing where summarizes or all the songs you played recently, etc, etc, etc. I'm not a huge Spotify user in the first place. I mean, I do use it. Spotify is good for when I'm just I don't have anything in particular I want to listen to, but I want to listen to something, so I just put on whatever random playlist I have. Or it's good for finding music which is mainstream and difficult to finding and playing music which is current, I suppose, like the Encanto soundtrack, which I listen to apparently the most. But anyway, hello everyone, right now in Fawnhollow at 6:08 PM on Wednesday, November 30th 2022. It's interesting because it makes me think about the summary statistics and how representative it could be. Right now there's a whole I don't know, I'm not gonna spoil exactly what conversation my friends are having right now, but about some people and cause there's a thing where you can get an associated role or put a listening type at the end or whatever, and how the confusion over some of it. But now it seems like more revelations are coming out. I don't really know. But yeah, I was just thinking about my own one because I had a quick look at my one. I'm not particularly invested in why or why not or anything, but my top stuff is basically the Encanto soundtrack and the Project Sakai not soundtrack, but playlists. But those are basically the only two things I've listened to on Spotify, which makes sense, and I listen to anime-esque music and Encanto music quite a lot, and I also listen to lo-fi beats quite a bit. But that was more to the end of the year, so I didn't quite breach my top 5 or whatever. By the way, do you see that video of someone who used AI to try and make a lo-fi music some lo-fi soundtrack? It was quite funny, I'm not gonna lie. She really gave me energy of Michael Reeves, that sort of thing. Chaotic engineering, that certainly seems to be the sort of way to go with these creative engineering process YouTube-esque videos. They are all YouTube videos, but still, you got Michael Reeves, you got, I forgot her name, but she's the one who has these cool inventions that she makes around the house. The person I just spoke about, the person who I can't remember his name either. And the person who did the glitter bomb, I mean, I'm not sure about he's so chaotic, but what you know what I mean. It's sort of the mad scientist sort of trope, you got to have a little bit of not crazy, I don't mean to be disparaging. I'm saying this as a joke, obviously. You got to have a little bit of insanity with you to be able to spark ideas of doing weird and wonderful things, I'd imagine. And if you can't, then I don't know. There's not really much else to it. I mean, it's an interesting question to ask yourself, how do you have your own spark of insanity? How large is your spark of insanity? No, that's not really the way to phrase it, but you know what I mean. I don't want to say how crazy are you, because that obviously makes no sense. Not as a question, but for the context of what I mean. I mean, are you a sort of mad genius, or are you a very sort of normal genius? That also isn't really the way I want to describe it, but sane genius perhaps is the word you would use as an antithesis to insane, right? I'm going to be honest, I don't really see myself as much of a mad scientist character, I'm going to be honest. Maybe, I don't know if that would surprise you or not surprise you, to be honest, because I think you can go two different ways. I have such a disjointed way of speaking about things, and you might be oh, you have quite a creative mindset as well. Wouldn't you make quite a good mad scientist? But no, in reality, I don't think I would. And I'm not really all about the sort of chaos and madness about things, if it was a war of order versus chaos, ideally you like a bit of both, but if I had to choose one, I guess I'd choose order over chaos. But it's not I'm not particularly what's the word, fanatics about either side, to be honest. But chaos is just I don't know, but there's not many things which thrive in the chaos. Things on an individual level do, but when you're looking at things on a grander scale, I think it's a bit harder to. So perhaps that's why the mad scientist sort of trope works pretty well, I mean, people always say this, you might know this yourself if you're quite a messy worker or whatever, your room's a mess, but somehow know where everything is, theoretically. Your room could just be a mess, and you might also not know where anything is, which is also fair enough. I mean, you sort of just live your life as you want to and as you should, a healthy combination of both. But, it's a very sort of like common tropey-esque thing, the genius with all their papers scattered everywhere, they somehow know where exactly everything is all the time. But, I just don't work like that. I like things to be a lot more organised and, like, operational systems to be able to find things upon quick research, should I need them. I won't lie, that sometimes things do get a bit chaotic if I'm just, like, working on a problem, etc., etc., then, sometimes the places I'm taking notes sort of bounce around all the place. But it's all like sort of contained with its own like mini system in the first place. So, if anything, it's more like controlled chaos in mini systems, but the mini systems are organised to help me. I suppose that's how I describe my working method. And you might be like, what on earth are you talking about? And even I don't really know what that's meant to mean, to be honest. This is sort of me trying to double dip in both things, being like, oh, look, guys, I'm both ordered and chaotic. Oh, whoa. Which is probably just like the true for most people. No one out there is probably like truly ordered, and no one out there is truly chaotic. If you're truly chaotic, then literally I don't know how you're alive. If you're truly ordered, then literally I don't know how you live. Whoa, deep. But yeah, you know what I mean. Like, obviously people have some like persuasions one way or another, and that's completely fair enough. Basically, as long as you can do the stuff, that's totally fine. As long as you're working, for your own like personal like projects or your own personal thing, you can basically work exactly how you like, if you like. But there's the thing where if you're working with a collaborative group of people, the problem that comes with chaotic workings and chaotic, like organisation and that sort of thing, is it doesn't translate well to other people. Mainly because, ordered systems at least have like a sort of, a common language between everyone, people, generally understand general order systems, like the alphabet, ordered systems through the alphabet. They can understand things like grouping things together based on subject, like grouping things together based on theming, having a strict same sort of process that you run through for many different things, which are applicable to all sorts of different parts of a project. Fair enough. But when things are much more chaotic, when things are much more sort of thrown together as is based off what works for you, that doesn't translate so well to other people in a group. And I'm sure it's quite a common thing for programmers, especially, to be like, oh, having to read other people's code, and the fact that they don't put comments, the fact it's all over the place, the fact that things are labeled in variables named weirdly. It makes sense to the person who created it, but looking back on it, you're just like, this person who wrote this is insane. But probably what happened is the person probably creating it was probably trying to do it with a semblance of organisation, but like they were the only one who worked on it, so they remembered things, so they're just like, oh yeah, I remember now variable 5 is this X, Y, Z, and that's different from variable 50, which is meant to be variable 5, but it's not the same as variable 51, which is actually a different type of variable 1, etc, 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 like all the weird sort of madness which comes to it is, but just by like working on a project over and over and over again, the sort of insanity that comes from it is difficult to manage. But it's interesting in its own way, because of course I worked on all my sort of different projects and different sort of things in the first place. Birthday projects mainly, I think, are the most varied of them. And I suppose, spoilers, if your birthday's coming up in like at the end of this week, again, that friend I don't think watches these videos, the Animal Crossing ones at the very least. But yeah, there was a thing last year where we worked together in a group of us. I say group of us, there's only 3 of us, to make a card game for him, and this year it's being revived. Because that version 1.0, which was released last year, I didn't even get to play it because I was on holiday, unfortunately, during his birthday. I didn't even get to play it, but like it got released and it was like incredibly unbalanced and it was incredibly slow. They didn't even finish a game, I believe, as I understood. They almost got to the end, but it took 2 hours for them to almost get there. So I basically buffed all the cards, made everything accelerate faster and faster and faster, just so because I don't know that much about making card games. I have like ideas, of course, but everyone's an ideas person. What you really need is like a proper like working person who's like experienced person, right? I don't have experience with creating card games. It was quite fun, I'm not gonna lie. But anyway, I always go into these projects with the idea of like I want to set as much organization, as much structure as I can at the beginning, because eventually that structure is going to be lost. Eventually everything is going to go like, oh, I'm just going to put this here, oh, I'm going to put this column here, I'll put the comment here, I'll remember where this is later, and then eventually it all gets messy. But at least by having a very solid structure to begin with, it at least gives yourself a solid working foundation for a reasonably long time until things start getting messy again. I have to say though, I was very thankful of it because, of course, as I say, I'm reviving it this year. It was a thing where it's like the entire card game was meant to be quite modular, so it'd be something which theoretically could be played a lot, and like other people could get in on the business if they wanted to get a bit of designing like acumen in there. It was kind of meant to be the fun of it. But you know, the thing is, the first time we made it literally just by like exporting images from like, in my case, Clip Studio Paint. I might have been using Photoshop at that point. I can't really remember. Let's not even get into Clip Studio Paint like controversies, which is happening right now. But or there's some sort of like subscription model emerging. But oh yeah, mental note to myself: I need to definitely pick up the EX version next time it goes on sale, which will probably be at the end of the year, before that new subscription model comes into place. Because you know, I want to try my hand at animation, and having more than 24 frames is probably the way to go. But yeah, not that Clip Studio Paint is kind of a go-to animation tool. It's not really, as far as I'm aware. What was I going to say? Yeah, it's been revived now, and me going through the stuff again, like it was a thing for like a month afterwards. I did work on it a little bit to try and like rebalance things, to get things working, discovering a program called Nandek, which is basically like a way to combine programming and like art stuff to be able to, automatically assemble cards rather than having to manually do it every single time. And might I say, it is fantastic, because I played around with it basically for a month afterwards, and I made like the program to create two other decks of that sort of thing. And in these recent weeks, I've been coming back to it, basically being like, oh yeah, let's try and get this working again, and try and get this modular system in. So, you know, if it turns out we play it and it's actually legitimately quite a lot of fun, and things need to be buffed, nerfed, changed, I can just do it by changing a spreadsheet rather than having to import the entire image again. And it's been good. You know, it's times like this where I'm very thankful of my very sort of like diligent, rigorously formulated way of tackling projects, because I look at it and when I was like, oh man, this seems like it's going to be so much effort, and when I started doing it like a couple of days ago, and I was like, wow, thank goodness for previous me for basically having all of these systems in place. I know where to find everything feels like it's in a reasonably logical place, and I've put comments, I've labeled things, I've noted down things, so like I know what's going on. I just need a little bit of a refresher, basically how to even interface the program again, and then I was good to go. And you know, I've finished over the past couple of days, I've speedily gone through and I've recreated all the decks that I need to, which is good. Like, there's still some bugs which I haven't ironed out. Like sometimes elements of the cards overlap each other, which is fine. Like, you can still read what's going on. It just doesn't look great, but that's fine. It's not something which is going to be published or anything, because obviously we are using a lot of copyrighted things, so don't think about it too hard. Because it's something used to be used personally within a friend group. I mean, ideally, I wanted basically all the cards have a little image on them. I wanted all the images in the game to be like custom made eventually, but you know, that's a lot of drawing, to be honest, and I've really not had the time for that recently. But you know, what I did last year was, in fact, like every person who was working on a project got their own character essentially, and I did do custom images for all of my characters, and that's kind of a point of it. So like, if other ones of my friends were like, hey, I want to be getting into this action, can I design a character for this game? I'd be like, yeah, you can. You know, here's a template. I'll work together with you designing like what the cards are, but you can do whatever images you want, and then like just giving them incredibly easy systems that they can just send me 40 images, and I'll be like, pop, in it goes. And, you know, modular systems, that's what it's all about, you know. that makes it simple. But yeah, so, you know, it's a time where I'm just like, pass me, thank. I don't know what I'm saying anymore, because I'm just like, everything is in a logical order. Everything's like in folders. The folders are labeled, all the things are labeled. The spreadsheet has basically all the information I could possibly need on it. I've got notes, I've got like summaries, etc. And I even wrote myself a rule book. I even made patch notes at one point, although I stopped updating the patch notes because they took way too long to write. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe even now, maybe there could be an automatic way to do them, to generate them, but that's not very important. I'm not running a games as a service here, so that's not really the highest priority for me right now. And I'm just like, thank you, past me, for having such rigorous note-taking, such that it's so easy now to actually implement these changes and updates that I wanted to. So, you know, there goes my, like, a tally mark for organised work. And it kind of goes without saying, I feel like most people who are chaotic workers are kind of under that understanding where it's like, yeah, I work chaotically and that sort of thing, but that works for me and that's fine. But if I have to work in a team, and then yes, I'm going to use some sort of semblance of order so other people can also work with it. I think most people have enough self-awareness to be like, yeah, that's probably what you should do. And chaotic working definitely has its places, especially when it comes to like idea generation and much more creative thinkings. I don't even know why I'm in here, Crazy Red, but it's been a while, but we might as well buy the different coloured customizations you have for this. But yeah, for idea generation especially, it's very important to be able to let your creative muscles flow and whatever. You know, the ordered way of doing things can lead to things being quite rigorous and unstructured, which is fine but predictable in the end. You kind of need that chaos to be like, ooh, here's some ideas. Why don't we try this? Why don't we try X, Y, Z? Is this even possible? Because if you go at it from a too ordered perspective, and you're going to start like being like, you're going to start branching out from possibility to idea rather than idea to is it possible? You know? I say this as someone who's, you know, I'm not like a CEO of a company, so and whether this actually holds any water or not certainly leaves much to be desired or questioned. Begs the question. Even begging the question fallacy is a completely different fallacy, isn't it? But yeah, structured working. What am I going to title this episode? What was I talking about before? Structured work? No. Did it? No. I'm not going to call it order versus chaos because that's not really what I'm talking about. Working structure? Nah. Structured code comments. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm trying to think, like, because there was a little phrase I used earlier on in this video, which I was like, that seems like a good phrase to use over the title of the episode, but I kind of forgot what I was talking about. I don't even know how I got onto this topic in the first place. Didn't I start talking about, like, the Spotify the roundup? I'm not sure how I got here in the first place. Anyway, I'm going to call it structured working or something. Oh my god, my throat. Audie, I can see you are ill. I'll drink some water, but I've actually run out of water, so I need to go get some after this video. Yeah, so actually now I think about it. Do I have how many videos have I got left? Because I'm going to be busy next week as well, which is annoying, but you know, so be it. I'm going to be busy. 360 subscribers? When did that happen? Also, 25 random viewers on the last Animal Crossing episode. Why does this one have 3 likes? Not that I'm complaining, it's just sort of just like random. It's 4 views and 3 likes. 4 people saw it and was like, yes, this is it. First words. Cinematic Dreams. Random got 25 views. Yeah, and then see my backlog. Okay, so I got a backlog. I got stuff for this week, I just don't have stuff next week. I got one Amari episode. And it's also a little bit concerning because Little Nightmares is very close to coming to an end, I think. Like, it feels like it's almost at the end. It feels like it's going to end in the next 2 episodes or maybe 3 episodes. Which means I'm going to have to, you know, replace it with, why am I selling a single weed? What am I doing? Sure, why not? Take those 12 bells. Yeah, and it's like, I need to draw the thumbnail out for the next one. I need to start, like, looking into the next game. What am I going to choose? What am I going to play? I have an idea of what I'm going to play, and it's going to be much more puzzle-based than Little Nightmares is. It's, in fact, going to be a puzzle game, like, as it should be in that slot. I think, at least. I was meant to, you know what I was meant to do? I was meant to buy games during the Steam sale on my wishlist, but I didn't, mainly because I just forgot. So I'm going to have to wait till the winter sale to actually, and I'm just going to buy a load of games in bulk to make sure I've got enough for ages. Because the thing is, I don't have many puzzle games lined up. I have a lot of, like, story, mechanic games. I guess atmospheric games can be in there, but I should go puzzle game. I should go puzzle atmospheric. Puzzle atmospheric in that slot, maybe, because I'm not sure puzzle games are that entertaining to watch, but I like playing them, so who knows. Anyway, I'm going to round off this episode here, so if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Any likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Join me Dear Darling Discord, follow me on Twitter down below. Hope you see each other again, but for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye-bye for now.